Now look, what if a simple visit to a medical center turned deadly because of a 20-pound weight training chain? Well, today we're talking about a tragic and completely avoidable death that's shaken up the medical world. This is the case of Keith McAllister and what happened inside an MRI room that should have never happened. Now y'all sit back and relax and stay to the end of this episode because we about to dive right in. Welcome back to another episode of Eyes Low, Belly Full. As y'all know, this marks episode number 96. Now, Keith McAllister was a 61-year-old husband from Long Island, New York. And on July 16th, 2025, he accompanied his wife to Nassau Open MRI in Westbury. And she was just getting a routine knee scan done. Nothing seemed unusual until tragedy struck. Here's the critical mistake. No one stopped Keith from entering the MRI room with a 20-pound metal weight training chain around his neck. Now, if you don't know, MRI machines are basically giant magnets. So the moment Keith entered that room, that chain was yanked by a magnet force so strong that it yanked Keith into the MRI machine. I mean, he was pinned there, jammed into the machine for almost an hour. Yeah, a whole hour, Slim. I'm talking about stuck, suffocating, and injured. And no one could get him free. Now, paramedics rushed him to the hospital, but the damage was already done. Keith suffered from multiple heart attacks and died the very next day.
This is like something out of a Final Destination movie, but it happened in real life. It all went down this past Wednesday afternoon at 4:30 when 911 gets a call for an emergency at NASA Open MRI in Westbury, New York. 61-year-old Keith McAllister had brought his wife Adrian in for an MRI of her knee. Here's where the story starts to differ. Adrian says the technician brought Keith into the room so that he could help her get out of the machine. The employees say Adrian started to shout out for help, which caused Keith to come running into the room. Employees say they were telling him not to open the door because the machine was in use, but he entered regardless. Either way, when Keith McAllister opened the door, the MRI machine started reacting to the 20-pound chain around his neck. The machine started pulling Keith into the machine, choking him. The chain had a large lock on the end, so they weren't able to get it off. And the technician and Adrian tried pulling him away from the machine, but they were unable. Adrian says her husband waved goodbye, and his body went limp in her arms. Keith was then transferred to a local hospital, but died the next day after succumbing to his injuries.
Adrian even said that the technician acknowledged his chain. Complimented him on his chain and still allowed him in that MRI room.
Adrian said after she'd had an MRI on her knee Wednesday, she needed help getting up. She said she asked the technician to get her husband.
And I yelled out Keith's name, Keith, come help me up, come help me up.
She said the technician went to get her husband and brought him into the room, despite the fact that Keith was wearing a 20-pound chain around his neck with a large lock that he used for weight training.
They were standing there laughing and joking before he even came to the table.
When Keith got closer to Adrian to help her up, she said the unthinkable happened.
At that instant, the machine switched him around, pulled him in, and he hit the MRI.
Adrian says she and the tech tried to pry Keith off the machine, but it was impossible.
I'm saying, could you turn up the machine, call 911, do something, turn this damn thing off?
Adrian said that this was not the first time she and Keith had been to Nassau Open MRI, and she said he'd worn the big chain here before.
It's not the first time that guy has seen that chain. They had a conversation about it before. Ooh,
And this isn't the first time something like this has happened. In 2021, a 6-year-old boy was unalived because an oxygen tank flew inside the MRI machine. Now that was 24 years ago, and yet the lessons still aren't being applied across the board. Man, this situation definitely remind me of the new Final Destination movie, like that just came out recently, like the newest Final Destination movie. The same exact thing happened inside the MRI room on the movie, like with a chain, a smaller chain though. It was crazy. Now, a GoFundMe has since been set up to cover Keith's funeral expenses. And that MRI center is under investigation. So far, no one has been charged. And this isn't just about the incident itself. It's about system failure. Like, MRI rooms should be treated just like airport security. No meddle, no mistake, no excuses. I mean, the fact that Keith wasn't stopped, not even questioned, tells you all you need to know. I mean, you got a 20-pound weight train. I mean, a 20-pound. Like, even they notice you. Usually MRI rooms notice your keys, any metal. They tell you take all your metal off. They notice keys, a little chain. They know earring. They notice anything. But they couldn't note, like, you in the MRI room and you didn't say nothing about a 20-pound chain. I'm talking about a 20-pound chain visibly right there on somebody's neck. And whether it was negligence, lack of training, or complete carelessness, someone dropped the ball. And now a family is grieving a completely preventable death. Now, you don't need to be a doctor to know that magnets and metal don't mix. Like, the moment Keith walked into that room, that chain became a missile. Like, hospitals and image centers need to step it up. More signage isn't enough. You feel what I'm saying? There needs to be mandatory verbal checks, alarms, maybe even metal detectors, especially for non-patients entering scan areas. The fact is, Keith McAllister didn't pass away from a freak accident. He passed away because people that should have been paying attention, they weren't. Now, if you ever had an MRI or accompanied somebody to one, you know how serious the process could be. And this shows that not everyone is following the rules. And when those rules aren't enforced, lives can be lost. And rest in peace to that man, Keith McAllister. And the fact that he got that last name McAllister, it got me thinking deep because my grandma's side of the family is McAllister. So I don't know. Now, I want to hear what y'all think about this situation. Do y'all think the MRI staff should be legally held responsible for what happened? Or was this just a tragic mistake? Go ahead and let me know in the comments below. And also, if this video resonated with you, go ahead and hit that like button. Give me a thumbs up. And also subscribe and hit that bell notification for more episodes. I'm going to catch y'all in the next one. Peace.